Welcome
Hey,
back.
good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. How are you? What's on your radar? And welcome back to F.A.C.E.
I appreciate it. Happy Veterans Day to everybody, and thanks for having me back here. What's
Welcome
on my
back,
radar?
Dave.
Well, a lot of thematic plays once again.
Yeah, I think you're having since I last talked to you, some great moves in your favor of what you have been talking about on your previous two interviews. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm excited to talk about them in more detail here.
Okay.
So,
There's
so
your
in
Russell breakout.
in particular, I did want to just start off with something I know you guys touch on all the time is the Russell 2000 because I think regardless of my bullishness on various thematic areas in the market, I feel that if general equities are not in a bullish environment, those will not perform as well, right? Because there's a lot of correlation, and the Russell 2000s, what seems to be a range bound breakout that we've had for a couple of. The breakouts happen basically over a year of range bound trading. Yeah. Now, there's a slight divergence here that we have to be cognizant of, and I want to make certain that it's not a fake breakout here. But when I look at the MACDs breaking above zero finally for the first time in basically all of 2021, and the downtrend in RSI has been broken, that gets me bullish. And we'll see. I'd like to see some consolidation here, but if we get a leg higher in the small caps, and then again the micro caps as well, that is going to be a very bullish kind of backdrop to the commodity themes that I'm watching very closely.
Yeah, which one has been, I've been seeing things like uranium shares painting the tape, becoming more popular. When you first started talking about it, it was, off the radar. Who would ever go to nuclear power again? Type of sentiment that we had back there.
Right. The fundamentals in uranium were improving over the last couple of years, but it wasn't until really I would say 2021 that what now is called the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, that Sprott took over, and this happened actually in August. So I believe after our interview, but when Sprott took over the Uranium Trust, the sector just went, no pun intended, nuclear. This year was a neckline around the $11 area, and you see how quickly it ran from 11 to 1850. We've been consolidating here just a little bit and creating a very, very bullish flag above the previous breakout zone. So my expectation is that this is going to break out very, very soon. We are in very bullish seasonality period for the uranium sector, which starts really from mid-November till mid-March. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this uranium trust going into the 30s, and if that happens, and well beyond that, but on this particular leg higher. And if that happens, let's take a look at the Uranium ETF, the URA. It's not as pure play as the URNM. So if I'm going to invest in an ETF, the URNM is the way I would go. But look at this. This is from 2012. We are just now starting to look at that neckline around 31. And so clearly the move since August of this year has been from 17 to close to 31. That's been quite a move in and of itself. But I think we're just getting started here. There's Dave, obviously volatility along the way.
You made a comment when you were showing the Russells that overall you're really not that bullish the market. I'm wondering if we have a correction, and I know some pretty good people that are saying it could start from 4,800 or 5,000, and they're looking for not just 5-10%. Some of these people that have these targets. Will uranium shares suffer? Will it act more like a stock, or will it act more like uranium?
Right. Well, just to clarify, Dale, right now I am bullish the markets. I think the general theme in my book is that equities remain bullish, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see 5,000. Okay. With that said, obviously there are going to be corrections along the way, and eventually the bull market will end. And
What do you think is going to end it, Dave? You have a good understanding of markets. Is it going to be some type of black swan event, or is it going to be yields? What do you think could end the bull market? Just uh, a recession, a shock? Any ideas?
yeah, I wish I knew with any degree of certainty, but my hunch is that it will be a black swan event that's tied to unintended consequences to inflation. So whether that's interest rates going much higher than the markets expect, or the U.S. dollar going higher. You guys have been talking about the U.S. dollar. I've been watching this very closely here as well.
You mean like the milkshake theory?
Exactly. I mean, if something breaks
I
out
like
and
chocolate.
right, you're getting me hungry. If something breaks out that the market's not expecting, that could create some unintended consequences. Interest rates are the talk of the town, and I do believe that they're starting to break out. I was telling someone yesterday privately that I expect 10-year treasuries to be over 2% before year end, and
I do too.
We know where momentum will take that probably even higher. And at that point, how does that impact the NASDAQ and various different areas and segments of the market? But right now, I mean, corporate earnings are at record levels, and really there's nothing really that's stopping them from going higher. Yeah,
Come on, be a little more controversial. I'm
yeah,
kidding, Dave.
yeah. I mean, well,
just make money. Who cares about being controversial? Just
well, I think that's what's unique about this, Dale, is that we the base case view of market participants is that things are going to get worse, and I think the pain trade is actually to the upside, where very few quote unquote experienced traders and investors are predicting it.
Okay, all right, appreciate that.
Sure.
All right, so you venturing out into anything besides uranium?
Yeah, well, gold and silver are starting to become very interesting once again. Silver as a metal itself, there's a lot of overhead supply here, so I wouldn't invest in the silver play yet. But I do see that the potential of a breakout here on RSI that's starting to take place. But what does interest me in silver are the silver miners. Yeah, not the juniors, but the larger producers. When you look at
why
this
not
chart,
the juniors like SILJ? They're underperforming.
Yeah, SILJ just has a lot of overhead supply. I'm not saying that they won't do incredibly well if this breakout over 28 does occur eventually. They're going to do incredibly well. But when I see a chart like this, there's really no overhead supply. And you've got this bullish flag cup and handle breakout potentially taking place here. So obviously I would start with a positioning around these levels. If it breaks above 50 on the SIL, I mean, you've got blue sky till 69. And then beyond that, it's closer to 90. So I do believe that sooner rather than later, this breakout will take place. So I'm watching it very closely. Of course, if there's a rejection here and the dollar breaks out, then, perhaps we have a couple more weeks or months of frustration, but this is going to happen. It's a question of when, and that's exciting for me.
Okay.
Another area that's starting to capture my interest, and I'm starting to do due diligence on, is marijuana. Very few people are talking about the marijuana trade, but perhaps with Congress completing negotiations on the various different packages, they can turn their focus to this segment. That's kind of my theory. But when you look at
the revenue,
they need the revenue. That's absolutely right. I mean, you look at this longer term chart since this ETF was in existence, and we've been in two pretty consolidated downtrends that, from one vantage point, might be considered bullish wedge, bullish flag, and we finally broke out of that right now. And when you look at the MACDs, they're starting to pick up steam. So I'm starting to just get interested. If this can break above, I'd say $9 here, above this neckline, then I would really get interested. And this is more than just potentially a trade, but potentially a long-term investment if things indeed are starting to turn around.
Where's that traded, HMMJ? Toronto?
That's on Toronto Exchange. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so
you can buy names like Tilray, TLRY, that,
yeah,
I mean, went down from what, 300 to $12. I mean, there's been such a
yeah.
massive
You have
decline,
a chart
and
on Tilray?
I can pull it up. I don't have it, but I'll pull it up right here.
They say if you take too much radiation from your uranium shares, that smoking marijuana will stop the nausea.
Yeah,
I
it's
have experience with radiation. So anyway, that's a nice pair trade, right? Uranium and weed.
exactly.
All right. So three.
Exactly. But you
Yeah.
see how this trades in kind of these ranges. It was in a downturn from 300 to all the way to $2, finally broke out, went all the way to 67. Now it's range bound again.
Yeah.
I think this is going to break out. And, you know, if you're into the Elliott wave cycles, I mean, this is another wave higher that's probably going to take this stock into the hundreds if things really do break out above that 14 area. So it is on my radar.
Okay. All right. Anything else you want to cover with us today?
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at bulk. And I
Shipping.
apologize, I'm on a different computer today with my wife sleeping, so I have to be in a kind of in a cave here. So I'm using a
You're in
laptop
your
with
man
smaller,
cave. Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
smaller screens here. But what's interesting here is bulk dry shipping. I think that some people are looking at this as a bearish development, right? But this is the B dry ETF. But I think this is just telling us that the supply chains are starting to ease a little bit right now, and this is an interesting area to potentially get back into this trade around this 22 level for shipping containers, because I do believe, as you know, commodities are a very bullish area here. This is an index that I watch very closely. It's the Pring Inflation Index on stock charts.
Pring.
Yeah, the legend. So this is the inflation index here. I mean, and look at this long term. I mean, this is a very, very well defined cup and handle, and we're outside of this handle right now, and I think we're going to break out. And inflation is here to stay. I don't believe it's transitory by any stretch. I mean, there are areas of the markets that are, but I think this is going to continue to be a very powerful theme over the next decade.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I mean, where do you want to be long? I mean, copper.
Things with intrinsic value.
Right, exactly right. Platinum starts to stand out a little bit right now. Kind of I like the undervalued commodities, the ones that have not necessarily been on the top of everyone's radar for the last many years.
You're so young, you probably don't remember platinum trading at $1,000 premium over gold.
You know, I read about it, and it certainly was my expectation over the last decade, right? But it just hasn't
in ancient
happened.
history books, yeah.
Right. And one final thing, Dale, from my vantage point, is this: I watched this index very closely. It's the high yield index, option adjusted spread index, and you know, it's interesting because how credit is doing is ultimately going to determine the health of the overall market. And so long as this spread is very, very thin and going lower, that's bullish for equities. I mean, I just don't see any real signs that there's stress in the markets yet. So I'll be watching this
back over 4 or so to start getting the sign of it.
Exactly. If it gets over 4, I will start getting a little bit nervous. And to your question earlier about uranium equities and how they might perform under a stressed economic environment, it all depends on what the cause of the stress is. If it's just inflation that's scaring the NASDAQ, then I think uranium equities and commodities will be the safe haven, if you will. But if it becomes a financial event that everything starts selling off, then you have to, uranium's going to get hit as well. Perhaps not the underlying commodity.
DJ is saying that this looks like it's coiling. I actually see 1, 2, and one more low would give you a 3 drive to a bottom pattern, and we are diverging down there, right?
Yeah, it's quite possible. I'm noticing that as well. But we also saw that this divergence happened from 2017 all the way to the end of 2018. So 2 years we had a divergence before we had any breakout. So we could be in another 6 to 12 months of this divergence before anything real happens.
I don't think past the spring. Just my call.
Right.
Anyway,
A lot of you folks don't think past tomorrow in terms of, and that's great. But
okay.
that's why I try to kind of take a step back and look at the bigger picture and see what's taking place.
All right, Dave. So I forgot, do you have a business model besides trading your own account? Are you helping people? Are you teaching people? Why do you do these interviews? Why are you on Twitter? Are you just
Yeah,
paying it
I,
forward?
I'm paying it forward. I'm just extremely passionate about the markets, and
That's why I love you.
yeah, I trade on my own, and I do have a small premium service where I make these premium videos, but I just do that really for fun, and just to keep me busy.
Dave, it's always eye-opening, and your demeanor is great when you talk about these things, and appreciate you giving our community some ideas and some balance about everyone's bearishness about what's happening in the economy. So I really love your work, and thank
Thank
you
you
for
very
coming.
much. It's much appreciated.
I love you coming in here to talk about things that most people don't, and appreciate that. And you could follow Dave at on Twitter at Moneyology, Moniology, Moneyology. Correct? Is that the only
That's
place?
You got it. Yeah, you can find me on Patreon where I post some of my videos, and moneyology.com is where you can get a premium subscription. But yeah, Twitter is where I'm most active and where you can find me there.
Well, Dave, have a great fall trading season.
Thank you
I'll
so
talk to
much.
you.
To you guys as well. Happy
Yeah,
health and happy life to everybody.
I'll talk to
Blessings to
you.
everybody.
We'll get back together in the winter
Look
when we'll
forward to
need
it.
uranium to heat our houses because of the energy shortage.
You got that right.
All right. Isn't that what's the name of the guy? Uh, didn't Bart Simpson's father work in a nuclear plant?
You know,
Uh,
I did not watch The Simpsons growing up, so but
you
I
should
have
watch.
seen an episode where they were all turning green, so
Yeah,
it's
so
quite possible.
so there's your new logo for your for your company. Use the Simpsons dad turning, has some radiation. He glows in the dark.
Yeah, there you
Homer,
go.
that's it. Yeah, uranium and donuts and beer. So
That and a little bit of marijuana on the side.
oh yeah, and that's a great look because no one, Dave, is talking about the pot stocks anymore.
Right.
And they are looking kind of cheap. So appreciate you bringing that look too.
You got it.
Okay,
All right,
buddy.
guys. Have a great day. Have a great rest of the week and a wonderful weekend.
All right. That's Dave Farber, everyone. And you can follow him at Moneyology. That's going to be a wrap for us. You could join the team in a little less than 20 minutes for the morning edge. And hope that we added value to what you're trying to accomplish here. As a trader, it's not easy, but it also is achievable. So don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Okay, Paul, take it easy. Ingmar, you're welcome. Dave, thank you. Laura, thank you. Monica, see you all, my friends. Bye-bye.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.